Hey guys, I'll show you how to bake. So first of all, we're gonna need to make new UV maps for our objects, for each one of our objects. We're just gonna call it UV map bake, and the other one UV map bake. So do this for each and every object. So we're gonna go to UV editing, add in a new image. Make it any resolution you want, I don't care. Call it bake. Okay. And now we're gonna go to object mode, select everything, edit mode, select everything, smart UV project. So when unwrapping smart UV projecting, you make sure you add in like a 0.03 margin, because that's gonna make sure that textures don't collide with each other. Okay. Next, let's go to shading. And for each and every material, I have two materials. We're gonna look for like mapping nodes, texture coordinate nodes, basically everything, every texture node that uses UV map data. We're gonna need to replace the default UV with an UV map node. That's gonna be the first UV map, not the one that we created just now, the first one, and plugged into the vector. Here, also do that. The first one, vector, and do this for each and every one of your image textures that uses UV map data. Now we have to add in an image texture node somewhere, anywhere in our shader editor, and add in an UV map. This time it's gonna be the UV map bake connected. Select the image texture that we just made, so the bake one, and we're gonna have to Control-C, copy it to every one of our materials, the same thing. And now make sure that the image node is selected, that the white outline is only on the image node that we just created, and that this is on every one of our materials. It must be active, it must be a white outline. So when you've done that, let's go to render properties, cycles. It must be in cycles. It doesn't appear in Eevee as far as I know, but if you work in Eevee, you can switch to cycles and go back to Eevee again. And on the render, we're gonna turn off noise threshold, samples 10. 10 works fine. It lowers the time, so I think it's good. So now, before we start baking, we actually need to select any of our materials that use metalness. So any metallic materials, we're gonna just, if you are using like say texture connected to the metallic, you're just gonna unplug it and turn it down to 0. Just even if you're using like a value like I am here, just turn it down to 0, because Blender doesn't really work well with that. And again, make sure this is selected. Now in the layout, select everything. We can go here, bake type, and diffuse. Contributions, we're gonna only use color, and we can bake. Okay, yeah, don't worry if it takes a while, it's normal. So now we're gonna go to our image, press Shift Alt S, and basically you see I already have some maps here. I'm just gonna, I don't know, make a new folder, tutorial, whatever. You can make a folder that's called textures or something. I'm just gonna call this model and this model underscore diffuse. Save. Next up, let's fix our metallic. So basically, if you had a node plugged into the metallic, you would plug it like this into the emission. But since I had just a value, I'm gonna add a value node. It was 1 value emission, bake type, emit, and bake. Okay, so now again, Shift Alt S, save it something like model underscore metalness. Okay. Now you would use this emission technique for any of these values here that you don't see appear here. So for example, if you had specular, or I'm not sure if anisotropic, yeah, anisotropic value, you would use this emission technique basically, but we don't need it anymore. Next, we're gonna do the roughness bake. Make sure again that every image node here is selected and all of our objects are selected. Okay, Shift Alt S, model underscore roughness. Next up, again, selected, select all. Go here, baking. For me, it's gonna be the normals. Shift Alt S, metal underscore normal. So yeah, that's it. Basically, now if we remove these materials, add in a new one, add in Control Shift T, we go to where we save them, principal texture setup, and also we need to use our Control L link materials. So it's all messed up. Of course, we need to use the new UV maps. And that's it.